sprints, and fireside chats, both online and offline, just like the one we have today. Firstly, a warm welcome to all the attendees. Today, we're honored to host a distinguished leader in the UX industry, Kaladhar Bapu, the visionary behind UX India, one of the world's leading user experience design conferences. With more than 2 decades of experience and an impressive academic foundation from Pratt Institute, New York, and IIT Bombay, he continues to inspire and empower the design community through UMO design and driving innovation with flagship events like UX India and Women in Design. I'm excited to host this fireside chat with you, sir. Before we dive into it, do you have anything you would like to say, or shall we start the conversation?
No, I'm really honored to be part of this conversation, Ria. And thanks to Shivangi and the community of Friends of Figma. Let's start.
Okay,
Yeah.
then I'll start with my first question, sir.
Okay.
Sir, how have you seen design evolve over the years, and how has it influenced your approach to strategic design?
Yeah, it's been more than 20 years. So I think when I started, it was actually the first time I heard in my campus interview as a, you know, as a student of IIT Mumbai. There was a word called usability. I don't know, now people are aware of it. So we were actually like not given any idea about what is usability, and we were only given like product design and visual communication. These are the only things we were talking about. So the Dutch company called Ban ERP, so they came to campus and then they have actually trained me in Netherlands about usability. So that's how we started, understanding about usability, and now we are calling it as UX. And that actually helped me to understand that usability or UX could be a future, career option. So that's how we started a portal called usabilitymatters.org. That's what we call it, UMO today. It actually helped to create awareness about design and awareness about UX and all those. So the process when we started, your question, it was just a print that time. Suddenly we started thinking about digital. So it's a big shift from aesthetics or print to digital forward, digital transformation, I could say. So aesthetics to experience, that's a long way. And the tools, you were forced to use Adobe, Photoshop, Illustrator. And prior to that, we were actually forced to use Microsoft PowerPoint to create. So imagine like, right now we are so fortunate to see that Figma evolved a tool for our user experience design. Okay, and that approach actually influenced us from you know giving kind of colors to the interface and providing icons to today we are talking about at a strategic level. So today we are talking about the equally with the business. So integrating design with the business strategy was one of those last 20 years as a kind of evolution. And also we are emphasizing accessibility and inclusivity. We never even thought about it. Like, we never even heard about it, accessibility as a word. So now we are in a strategic place where we are able to think about people, races, and different abilities. And the slowly the way it is getting into, we're talking about data today. We are also designing using data driven design. That is also become very popular. From where I'm talking about, from designing print brochures to data driven, it's a huge transformation happened. And the impact, definitely, it's actually it became design became a value proposition. So I would say that the last 20 years, you've seen a huge transformation. I'm sure the next 20 years is going to be. I don't think it won't take 20 years next. It's going rapidly, and changes are going very quick. Maybe mostly like next 1 2 years, and even I would say every day is changing. The design is actually, it is, we're in a situation where it's like I've done some of my course, now I can practice. It is not that, it's everyday learning. So the transformation is, that's the only thing is constant now. Yep.
Yes, sir. It's very interesting to know about your journey. And obviously, I'm also, as a student, looking forward to the future
Yep.
of design and like the changes and the learning process that I will be involved in. So, coming to the next question,
Mhm.
how do you see UX India's mission fitting into today's digital world?
Yeah. So when we started UX India, I think it's around 2005. UMO design, I think it's next year we're going to celebrate 25 years of UMO. UX India, like when we were doing, as a part of awareness, the initial idea was to bring three things: awareness, education, and impact. These three things we coined, and then we thought of following, like, create awareness first and educate and then bring the impact. So and the mission was like good design for better living. So we thought of looking at good design from an opposite way. So we started with bad design contests. So we used to receive a huge number of bad design. Imagine there was no digital cameras that time. We used to have that 36 roll camera, film rolls, and then people used to use those cameras, take pictures, and then scan it and send to us. We used to exhibit in different universities and different cities. So eventually we started doing smaller workshops, and in 2005, the first international conference in India on design, UX design, happened in collaboration with ISB, Indian School of Business. So that actually helped us to like sustain for next 20 years. Today we are celebrating 20 years of UX India. So when you see that, fitting into today's digital world, so we started with promoting awareness, like creating awareness on user-centered design, and sorry, we created a platform to showcase these cutting-edge ideas and emerging trends and best practices of UX design through thought leadership. I think if you see that a kind of uh, you know content we bring and the kind of collaboration it's happening between like designers, mentors, and also not just only in India, we're actually bringing in a lot of speakers from outside India, and businesses and government is also involved now, and they're also showing. Apart from that, of course, academia without schools, universities. So this is a kind of a huge, like a very tight collaboration, and then that is one of those important thing which actually helped to the today's digital era. Like governments have started understanding the value of design, and this community is growing. That's for example, friends of Figma. It's like this is all these things became, somebody has to put a seed initially, so that is evolving, and a lot of communities have come in, and this actually helping us to convince our management to attend conferences and setting up design teams within their companies to suit to this current digital needs. And it is actually become now part of kind of business tech, and then design is like a tripod. So design has got that place. And it actually, I won't say that because of UX India, it has actually helped us to understand the new trends, and also different forums like what you guys are doing. So continuously, we are actually helping to make sure that this the overall vision of what we started, awareness and the education. Now you see a lot of institutes started. I'm not talking about hardcore NIDs and IITs and MITs and all those. Also, engineering colleges also started design as one of those courses, and a lot of boot camps have emerged because the need is too much. I think recent research it says that it still we need 1.37 designers in India, million designers. 1.37 million designers are still needed. So hardly our community is around 30,000. Okay, so we are still need of education. A lot of education needs to be done. We don't have enough schools to educate, and the impact is already showing how we are actually getting into growing into entrepreneurship, starting our own businesses, and designers started thinking about business. That is a very good sign to fit into this current digital world. And also ethics, that is also very important. And right now I think designers are actually learning to not just only designing aesthetics, and also learning from user-centered design, and also how ethically we supposed to live. And that is also very important. That is also where practicing, and in fact promoting responsive design practices actually that prioritizes our user trust and safety, so that we are also learning. So as a mission good design for better living, I think we are actually getting into that kind of impact I could see. And the fourth one, I'm going to talk in anyway in next questions what we are planning to do, and that is going to be part of my keynote at UX India as well. Yeah.
That's great, sir. Definitely, associations like UMO Design have helped so many students like me. It has definitely created a lot of awareness and imparted education and created a huge amount of impact. And I'm grateful for associations like these to give us opportunities. Further, as I come to my next question,
Mhm.
what is, just to extend the previous one, what is the most impactful program you've led through UX India, and what are your thoughts on expanding it further?
Sure. Actually, we have got several programs. In fact, Women in Design was one of the most important programs. Actually, we have started almost like 15 years back. So we started with a panel, and then now it became a mainstream conference now, Women in Design. And we are also starting 1 million women design education by 2030. That's a very big mission that is going to be, since you asked the question, what we have seen, what is influential. But these are my favorite programs. We are actually going to the next set of programs is like an entrepreneurship. I'm also looking at how designers can be founders of companies. It's not just craft, getting into business, understanding business, and then start your own companies. That's also another favorite program. But one of the best things, very like a huge number of people participated and created a lot of impact, is Design X Social. So whether you are a student or a professional, even a citizen actually can participate in that. So the way we have thought about was identify a burning or an urgent problem and solve it. So you don't have to be, when I say designer, because I believe everyone is a designer. Designer doesn't mean that people who know how to create Figma or how to create wireframes or Photoshop. Anybody is basically, we're all innovators. So this actual program allowed anybody, even during COVID, families actually also participated, wife, husband, and children as a team. So it actually helped to collaborate with the different set of designers. Like, for example, universities students collaborated with the different country students. So the team, so basically we want to encourage collaboration between among these teams. That is one thing. And empower designers to think freely, and then we also help them with mentors. So these groups actually assigned a mentor, design mentor, to help them through the process, because some of them are not trained designers. So these mentors actually helped. So we created a kind of a program for 2 weeks. A week is to understand identify the problem itself, because designers, we, the moment you get a brief, start thinking about how to solve it. But I would emphasize to understand the problem first, whether through research or any other techniques you follow. But if you define the problem correctly, identifying solutions are very easy. So we created 1 week to identify a problem and then another week to come up with a solution. So it also created a community engagement. So it's not just only participants, they're supposed to market their solution. As a designer, if you don't market your design, or if you're not able to articulate your design in your company, you fail. So this program also helped them to pitch, and also ask them to promote their designs. So we also started a kind of most popular award. So all the student groups actually uh, publicized well, and whoever has got good number of views and likes, so that also considered. So that how do you promote your design solution that was there, and then pitching. So we have given 7 minutes to pitch, and then 3 minutes for question answers. It's a jury, it's a proper jury, international jury was there, and some of these ideas have been implemented. Some of them actually became products, some of them became services. So I would say that the impact was so high, and DesignX Social Global Contest was one of those most participated. I have a couple of them, but since I'm taking one of the best programs I really like. So the future, how do I want to expand this? We wanted to create an incubator. So as a student, as a group, or professionals, if the idea is really good, solving, it's basically a social innovation and social impact. So we wanted to help the idea to grow, and then give support, enough support from monetary support, or business and design, all these supports. We wanted to create a kind of accelerator or incubator for the future. And we also wanted to enhance the collaboration with the education institutions. Basically, we want to partner with the design schools and universities to integrate social design projects into their curriculum, because that's very important. It's not just only designing for corporates. You also have to bring that kind of social responsibility. So that's one thing we are planning. And we also wanted to measure the long-term impact. Programs like this actually can really bring the purpose in our life. So, and also how is it actually impacting? It's not just only designing and leaving it. Can we implement these ideas? So these are some of the things I would say that for the future expansion.
Sir, all the future programs definitely seem very, very promising,
Yeah,
and looking forward to it.
sure.
I've also read that you help out a lot of startups and you're involved in a lot of startups. So,
Yeah.
how do you help startups make design thinking a core part of their strategy from the very beginning?
Yeah, startups. Actually, I work with a lot of startup ecosystems in New York as well as in India. Like for example, T Hub, we did help a lot of startups, and so many. Like even we are actually working with in Madhya Pradesh, an ecosystem, and right now we are actually got in touch with Tamil Nadu's. So New York actually like a very strong ecosystem. So the problem with the startups right now is actually understanding design. Initially, I got an idea, and now I need some funding, or I'm a technology guy and I create a product and now show it to somebody who actually can invest. So it took a lot of time for everyone to understand that why the startups are failing. In fact, one of those things we're actually coming up with is design hub in Telangana. uh, the last government actually approved our idea of bringing in a design hub where designers actually help these startups, and to because startups see design as an expensive thing, because if they want to talk to you and you charge a bomb, then they can do it. unless you become a co-founder or you get an equity, so we need an ecosystem of designers who actually can help evaluate at least initial ideas, and then you can actually give them an idea of how to think. Like now we are calling it as design thinking. So we conduct workshops on design thinking. Again, design thinking is not creating wireframes. So we also evaluate their value proposition. Design is actually, we have outgrown from screens to understanding value proposition and understanding the business value. So, and we also provide them resources. For example, we have a good number of volunteers. So we actually give them opportunity for them to students, and basically you're, spending some valuable, for them it's a very valuable time if you're spending an hour time to evaluate, review their designs and products. I don't call it designs because there's an idea. They keep the idea stage, but if you look at design thinking process, ideation is at one of those steps. We need to emphasize on the feedback sessions and testing that idea working or not. But at a startup level, they get an idea and then they just build it. They don't test it. So as a designer, if you plug into that process, you really can add a lot of value. So it also have to bring in that user-centric culture into their group, because people, a lot of startups and companies think that designers are waste of time. We spend unnecessary time talking to interviews and talking to people. Finally, at the end of 6 months, and we come up with some screens. We could have done it long back. So how do you tell them changing the mindset? That is also design thinking mindset is also very important. And it's not only startups. When you are working with the companies, even in New York or any US, you think that everything is perfect, but you still see that a lot of people are ignorant about our process, and they still think that I'm talking about after 20 years of UX in India, and imagine like in US that has been there much before, but even now people think that design is something which is will do some colors and themes and all those. That is important, and influencing a top down, that is also most important. How do you influence your CEO to think about design? And only when you are actually able to talk at that level, bringing that design thinking, aligning your design thinking process with the business strategy, and they understand clearly. I hope I answered this question. Let me know if you any.
Yes, sir. Very well. This is the
Okay,
first time getting to know something about startups, so it's great to know.
sure.
And as you mentioned about like the global design a scenario, I would like to ask you what are some of the challenges that are unique to India, and how can global design ideas be adapted to actually solve them?
Yeah, actually, well, I'll answer this question, but I also want to answer that opposite to this. Actually, you know, what are the design challenges that unique to global or developed countries, and how can global what is that you're saying adapt to Indian ideas, not
Yes, sir.
global ideas. So it could be an opposite to that, because I see India as an opportunity, because everybody says that we have challenges. I always see that the challenge is an opportunity. So for example, the challenge is we talk about uh, economic disparities. So that could be a challenge, and so the solution we come up with may not be available for low income groups. So how do you apply these global design ideas? So maybe can we bring in that uh, anybody can equally can utilize it, and and also digital literacy uh, levels of varying levels of digital literacy. So some, not everyone is digitally literate. So how do you design for 1 billion people, more than a billion, so, and also cultural sensitivities, and how do you actually scale your design for rural and urban context? So if you if you look at global design ideas, and of course, they're talking about taking feedback and testing and persona creation. Definitely, they are all who's going to help. But other side, what is actually we do is a frugal innovation. So one of the reasons why businesses are not accepting UX as immediately, because they see as a cost center, because they see that we are expensive, designers are. And sitting in India and we follow global ideas, I don't see that is important. We need to think locally. So we should actually, in fact, we should actually give our ideas to other countries, how we solve things in a frugal manner. I think jugards, right? We call it in Hindi. So that is very important. Actually, that's that kind of thinking is very important, because when you look into that, I think most of you are applying for higher studies or maybe studied in abroad. So you see your um, you know classmates or your batchmates. They generally, and when I was studying, people used to get scared that no, you are not following process, because our way of thinking is we actually think so quick, and we think in a way that in a frugal manner. So that thinking is to be given to the West. So but for us, I think we're already following, we are strictly following all those somebody defined in outside India, and we are adopting it here. But I see that we need to also think locally, and we are the best people because we know our users, we know our culture, and we know our neighbors. So I think we are the best people to design our stuff than adopting something, from global ideas or global standards. But I'm not denying that we should not do it. But see, for example, ethics, um, we they're really important. Definitely we should adopt, and some standards, at least the process we, though we are doing from long time, design thinking being coined by somebody, now we are using it, and people became kind of aware of design thinking. So there are some of them are good, but for India, these challenges, I think, is a great opportunity for us. And I would say adopt those frugal thinking, and frugal innovation is our strong, a tool for us to give it to West. Yeah.
Definitely, sir. I will keep this one in my mind.
Okay.
So, yeah, moving on to the next question. As a mentor, what would you advise young designers like myself to focus on in order to advance in their careers?
Okay. So I'm going to make it a little more interactive this for this question. Okay. What do you think? What do you expect from? What do you want to become? Like, or what do you think designers should be?
So I personally think designers should be problem solvers, and
Mm.
that is what my interest lies in. And hence, I chose UX as a discipline. Like I
Okay.
like the research part of it. I like studying in depth and like different factors that could end up into like a solution or a problem gap that I can identify.
Okay. And I'm again asking this question to you. What do you expect from a mentor?
I would expect knowing whether I'm going into the right direction. Like this is what
Mm.
the kind of feedback that I'm looking at in college as well. Is
Yeah.
sometimes I really get good insights in terms of whether I'm going into the right direction or whether the entire process is not going to lead me to anything. So I want to
Correct.
try and I want to try research. I want to go again, and then I want feedback in terms of the direction.
Yeah. So I'm just taking a kind of example here. So you are standing on a road, you're walking, and you have a destination in mind, and you're asking people that, you know, am I going in the right direction or not? Right? You're actually on the way, and you might stop maybe. And if you're in a car, you stop and ask, hey, I'm supposed to go here. Am I going in the right direction? They say, no, 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 you have to take this direction or go this, right? So mentorship actually became in a way that, you already decided what you want to be. You are only making sure that, okay, this is what I want to do. And then am I going in the right direction or not, right direction or not? So what happens is the person who is mentoring, until unless they know the destination, they can't tell you. Okay, but I would say destination is not the important. The journey is important. So you need to have a good mentor. So you need to choose, in our Indian system, Gurukul system, right? Choosing a guru is also very important. Not, and also gurus actually find the right student, right? So I would say if I have to mentor, even some of our students actually when we interact, the first thing is find your purpose. Purpose is not your destination. Purpose is finding something for, not for you, something for others, what I can do. I think there are some tools available, uh, Japanese tools. So you that they're tools, but understanding the purpose. See, for example, you are very fortunate enough to be at this level because of your friends, family, books, you know, many other reasons, your school. So what I'm giving back. So getting a purpose, because when I say the destination, people always say that I want to become rich, or I want to, my purpose is to work for Google. That is a different. It's not purpose. That's a confusion, right? Maybe that's a dream job, but your purpose should be only, not only you, people around you, and the society. What you can do, and I always tell them, be curious, you know, and passionate about what you're doing. Otherwise, if you kill that curiosity in you, okay, I'm now done, I achieved. Because that's what I'm saying. Once you feel that a destination is reached, I'm done. So you need to be always like a journey. So you keep walking. So, and continuous learning. And everything is changing. As I said, like maybe you're asking that question 20 years to now, to survive is so tough. Okay, and somehow we are managing at this age. Somehow we are managing by being our head of design, or CTO, CXOs and all, by not doing what you are doing. But in your case, at this age, young people, every day is rapidly changing. And it is actually, when we were studying, we were actually being exposed to so many other mediums, from research to photography to metal, product design, everything. Like, you are exposed to so many things. Now it's actually becoming specialization. Even in UX, you have UX writers separate, and UX researchers are separate, and UX designers, product designers, and whatnot. Like, you have multiple different layers are coming out. And so I think a continuous learning is important, and keep adopting. And I also suggest, do more, keep doing work, even if it is free. That's what one is, helping startups. The more you do it, it's basically you practice. Because the way you're already thinking that now I am became a social media celebrity, now I charge people. But I actually done a lot of free work. I even do now. I do a lot of work because it actually helps you to learn. And the most important suggestion I would do is craft, and then business. Maybe I would say later a strategy. So don't be like too much of a craftsman, creating beautiful images, beautiful wireframes. It is okay, but in future, that's going to be disrupted completely. If you are only a craftsman, then survival is going to be problematic. So you have to understand the foundation. You should have a very good foundation about design, and also getting to the business understanding. How do you add value? The moment you're not adding any value in the organization, you're obsolete. So I would say that's, of these couple of points I discussed. Have a purpose, be curious, and learning, continuous learning, and do more. And I would also say, get into the business as well, not just only design. Business of design is also important. Yeah.
Sir, as you mentioned, I have two follow up questions to it. One,
Yeah.
you mentioned about purpose. How do I, as a person, find my purpose? How do I
Mhm.
find what I really want to do in terms of
Yeah.
like helping out? In what ways do I want to help out? And second is, as you mentioned, there are so many things available in today's day and age. How do I
Mhm.
learn to prioritize in the sense that, right, I can't be doing everything right now. So, how do I
Mhm.
prioritize what I should be doing now and then what I can take up later on?
Yeah. So as I said, purpose is it should actually come from within, that what I want to do for the people. So the more you do it for others, actually you get more. That is actually to also help you to network. So there is a tools, I think is Japanese, when I'm not able to recall it. I call I can forward it and search and give you. There is actually a tool, a structure it gives you, that what is you are good at and what others are see you are good at. You know, it starts with I, the tool, so that actually you can start doing that. That is one way, in a processed way, like, that actually helps you overlapping of the circles, and it tells you what is the purpose, to identify your purpose. But most importantly, you should actually see, today, if you create a journal, what did I do for others? So that kind of thinking actually helps identify your purpose. Am I doing it for, you know for myself, for others? Am I creating impact for the world, or am I going to change something? What that is, it actually helps you to identify the purpose. I'm not saying that there is a formula, but there is a tool is there to make you think. uh, I'm sorry, I'm not able to recall that word, the tool, Japanese tool. I can search and tell you before we close this call. So that's actually helps us to identify. And you can always, it doesn't mean that you start with one purpose, because sometimes it actually works with our maturity levels. So it can actually get into the next level when you grow, and then start thinking, start looking at, and start measuring the impact you're creating. Your purpose actually can go to a better, it's a kind of a process again. That's the way I do it. uh, Prioritization. So again, this is a bit of uh, maturity level thinking. So what we do is, we always get into deviations. So first thing is, avoid deviations. When you start working and your social media page is open, then immediately you actually move into interesting conversations. So the learning that prioritization is, first thing is a focus. So then you actually understand that what is most important for me to do it. So, and as for me, for example, when I'm working on my assignments, so for example, I'm doing this call with you, my priority is to, you know uh, focus on that. So I would say, more than multitasking, you actually see that this is my priority for now. So I put all my energies to think and talk to you and then close it. So there is another one, focus. Create that, kind of an environment where you actually focus and close it, and it actually helps you to do the task, at least, maybe, at a more than what is expected from you. So that actually helps you to prioritize. Secondly, I also see that what is actually creating more impact. Okay, so whether, if I'm taking up this task, is it more helpful or more impactful? That's how I another prioritization I do it. But there are, management rules and principles to prioritizations. But in life, I think, I also strongly believe is intuition. So it actually tells you, the nature tells you what to do next. That's I very strongly I believe. But whatever that we discussed are very, like, a process oriented. So sometimes I never knew that I actually get into a conferencing. It was not at all my priority. I never knew that I can handle a conference for 20 years. So this sometimes nature tells you, what to do. So I would actually also believe strongly in that. Keep doing your things, and it you also get direction. So what is important for you? Nature tells you, okay, this is what. But as I said, be focused and go get deviated and look at what is the impact I'm creating and choose that way. And while choosing, you know that somebody tells you, hey, this is the right thing to do. Maybe a mentor can tell you, or somehow nature actually pushes you to do something important that time.
Thank you so much, sir. I will definitely try to inculcate all your inputs in my routine.
Sure. Okay.
But yeah. So moving on, what do you think is the next big thing in UX and design, and how can designers get ready for it?
Mhm. So everybody says AI, right? I would say AI and beyond. This is technology, but I'm looking at from UX perspective. So I'm thinking, at least, I'm not sure, but I'm my expectation. That's how when we started this organization, nobody thought that this is going to be so hot field now. But it took time. But people were thinking, what you guys are talking, showing bad designs and all those. Why is it needed? So, but these are my intuition. Actually, that's what I thought, that this is going to be very important in the future. So, since you asked a similar question when I started 20 years back, so I would see that the experiences are going to be context sensitive and with the help of technology, obviously. So now we are talking about a medicine, like a person sensitive or person centric. So we are not going to have a medicine, if you're having headache and then take same medicine all over. Anybody goes to the medical shop and take one medicine. So it's going to change. The experiences are going to be like, you know, context aware. It depends on the persona. Your I'm not calling it a screen, I'm calling it as experience. So your experience with interacting with different devices and different products would change depends on the context. It won't be a standard. For example, if I'm driving a Tesla, it doesn't have to be the same experience for each and every one. Instead of our people adopting to the technology adapts to user. That's what one thing I would say. And second is predictive design. So design actually right now we are trying hard understanding user needs, user research, and then trying to create interfaces. But evolving, in the future, it actually can predict what user is going to be doing it, and it changes accordingly. So that kind of a dynamic interfaces or dynamic experiences actually would come. Okay, and I would say ethics are going to be problematic, and that is most important as a designer. We have to be strongly oppose, dark patterns and those kind of issues, because that's we are going to be the people defined. Of course, business people ask us to do it, but we are the people who define what is good for the people and good for the society. So that's the one thing. And we also have to learn interdisciplinary skills. As a designer, how do we get ready for it? Is we also should learn not just only design, understand how data works and how technology, how businesses are doing, how to sell, how to market. All these are all very important skills as a designer, for a future designer you need to get equipped with. Currently, I still see that our design schools are not teaching. So design schools should not be design schools. This should be a business school. It should also become, they should teach law, they should teach sales, also marketing, all kinds of interdisciplinary. So design is one of those things. So you will actually see hybrid kind of people. I don't know what you call them then. So everybody will also learn. So now if you see a lot of engineering students, they also start talking to you in a design language. And future, like even business students will be talking in design. So then you have to be always aware that what you are, how are you different from them. Yeah. So I would say, yeah, these are a couple of things I would say. Yep.
Yes, sir, definitely. I think all of us students, even at my college, we try to learn different things because
Mm.
you never end up what we can combine with what to actually find good insights.
Yeah.
But yes, as we come to the end, like last question, as we
Hmm.
know that UX India hits the 20-year mark, what are your thoughts on its journey so far, and where do you see it going in the future?
Um, okay. So my thoughts and my journey so far. Okay. Um, so so first of all, sustaining any effort for a long time is one of those remarkable thing. I would actually thank my volunteers and then also people who participated, speakers, basically the entire community for the support. We started with an idea and now we actually became a premier design conference in Asia. And it's not easy. Like a lot of people thought in the process that okay, these guys are making money, though we are always been a non-profit manner. We all have day jobs, and then bringing them together. And a lot of even Shivangi is one of our volunteers. She knows in and out how we work. So motivating them and bringing them, having that passion for 20 years within the, I'm not talking about myself, I'm talking about the teams who actually help. It's maybe my idea could be one, but it all with the people. It is, the credit goes to the community. So now the conference grown in a way that it is now very expensive, and we have to see that without the community support, we can't run this conference. But I think, as I was telling, a lot of people came in and then started conferences thinking that, oh, this is a lucrative business, and they could run it for a couple of years and then they closed. I think one of those conferences you guys have heard about, IXDA. IXDA now, they could not sustain for long. They closed now. And in fact, we are actually honoring their tickets. The conference supposed to happen in Australia this year. So they reached us out and we are actually accepting to honor their tickets. Of course, they don't pay us, but whoever has enrolled into that conference, we are actually helping them to join our conference. So that it actually, like, it changed Indian design landscape. It actually played a pivotal role in shaping up this, fostering this culture of innovation and excellence. So if you see good number of meetups, conferences talking about design, maybe that's one of those, like most of the people who are even running any conference or speaking, they must have spoken at UX India. So we created a platform where very inclusive. We don't have any difficult differences on which state you from, which language you speak, or woman or male or female, or we have also college kind of a cults, like okay, I come from this college so I don't want to allow you. No, we don't have anything. On top of that, we always feel that everyone needs an opportunity, at least one chance to be given. So we also don't really look into the person who is sending. So that means that when we curate, we do a blind curation. We only look at your idea and what you are trying to say. So a lot of speakers, actually first time speakers, actually you can see even today, in September conference, there's a lot of first timers join and then they actually establish as the speakers. And nurturing talent, we actually helped. through this platform. Not just only UX India, we also have UMO Design School. So as I said, 1 million women. We also created a grads program. So a lot of talent has been promoted, and people have taken inspiration from that. And promoting this design thinking in different universities and also corporates. A lot of sessions we have taken, and a lot of our speakers actually go and then give lectures and take part in the different events in at different sessions and different events, like for example meetups. We have done almost, like, I think you guys have also helped us in Pune meetup, right? So almost like 10 meetups I've done, and it happened automatically. Like, people have taken the responsibility. That's what the power of community. That's what we have achieved in 20 years is that. So people actually take that. When you're talking about purpose, that actually helps you. If you keep you guys doing it, you clearly understand the purpose in a couple of days, that oh yes, this is what I'm helping, and you feel good about what you are contributing. Okay, in the future, where do I see? Right, that's a question. Am I correct? Okay, yes. As I said, like when we started 20 years back and now, we always try to be with the forefront of innovation, and always with up to date with what's going on, what's coming up, and what is the future. I'm going to talk about what we are planning to do in my keynote at the conference. Sorry, at UX India conference. But that is one important point I wanted to bring in. Like as I said initially, awareness, education, impact. There is another thing is that I want to emphasize more. How do we create wealth? So that's going to be the next, maybe I could say 5 years, not 20 years. I'm going to explain about what does it mean by in the keynote. And maybe this UX India, now it has been known to many forums, and I would say after the IXDA is no more, I think I'm hoping that they'll come back. But UX India became one of the very popular, very biggest gathering on earth. I'm talking from UX perspective. I'm not talking from tool perspective or free conferences, but as it's a paid conference, at the same time, it's a community driven, not the corporate driven. So that way, it is one of the biggest conferences. We prioritize diversity and inclusion, and the main another goal I said, want to bring in women actually getting into design. So we still see that our data suggests that we are still not on par with men, or I want that 1 million mark to be achieved by 2030. And we also want to focus on sustainability, and the purpose driven thinking is also important. How do we design for environment? That also we need to look into it. And we are going to strengthening the industry partnerships, collaborating with bigger organizations, like maybe not just only universities and corporates, like governments, and also similar aligned organizations. We want to collaborate. Yeah, I think we're almost yeah, because I'll be talking about it in the conference, so that I'm restraining myself to keep that couple of things I wanted to emphasize at the keynote. Yeah, but I already gave a bit of idea what is the future, how we are planning for the next couple of years. And one important thing I want to tell is the future of UX India is going to be youngsters. So definitely, I would love to hand it over to people who are passionate, enthusiastic, and curious the way we are doing currently, so they can take this mantle forward. Yeah.
Definitely, sir. It was great to know a slight insider dig into how to execute the UX India conference, your keynote, and where will it be going ahead. And as a youngster, I would also definitely want to join in into this community because
Yeah.
since like FOF is a community. I've joined it since 1 year, and since then I have realized the importance of having a community to back you up and support you. So it's been
Mhm.
great, and it's been a great conversation with you. I think we'll go to the Q&A section now, where
Yeah,
we have a few questions lined up. If
sure.
anyone else has any questions in out of the
Purpose.
participants,
Sure. The purpose thing, Ikogi, I think Ikogi. I don't know. That's how I pronounce Ikogi. I was telling you that I'll give you the tool name, Japanese way of thinking how to find your purpose. Ikogi, I think. Yeah. Yeah. Go ahead, please. Hello.
I think there is some lag in Ria's connection. So I'll just go ahead and start with the questions.
Yeah. Sure.
The first question is, would you say to get into AR and VR, it's important to learn game design softwares like Unreal Engine, Unity, etc.?
Okay.
This is the first question.
Okay. Okay. So it's learning. As I said, learning is always good, but